Next question is about creating personas. Now, personas are kind of like profiles of individual users or user groups. The student asks, it says that one should base personas on interviews and observations, and that a persona is not a person one has invented. Is that right? Should we invent them? This is a really tricky question and a really slippery slope in a lot of respects. So a lot of times we don't have access to the populations of groups of people that we want to understand more about their experiences. And that can be really, really difficult then to kind of connect with those audiences and to make sure that they're included. The best recommendation I have here is to start small and grow. So you may have to start trying to understand, empathize with those groups of people, but that's not where it ends. It should never end there, because all of the imagination you could possibly have is going to be embedded with your own personal biases. So you cannot just go on your imagination, because your imagination is a lot of times fed by things like the media, which are always biased and always giving you different kinds of stereotypes and different forms of prejudice. So what you want to do is follow up on that empathy, that sense of kind of connectedness. So I understand that there's a group of people that might need to access my business's services or use my business's services or use the technologies that I'm creating. How do I connect with those communities? First, it's just empathizing, trying to think how would they experience those products or services. But that's just the very, very, very first step. The next step is actually do your research and dig into what those experiences might be like. And there's a lot of different ways you can gather evidence. You can do research, so you can actually go out there and find research articles that have been written about those groups of people and what their day-to-day experiences might be, what their levels of access to technology might be. That will dispel some of your assumptions that may be incorrect or may be biased in some way, shape, or form. I love reading biographies about people who have been, grown up in different environments and have different backgrounds than me. That really helps me connect with those groups of people and try to understand just from one person's perspective what that life might be like. Now, that's also not a substitute for actually connecting with those groups of people. So now leveling up again is actually going out and doing observations, collecting data, connecting with those communities. And again, that's just one other way of doing this, one other way of approaching that understanding of those communities and trying to connect who the profiles are that you want to understand with the actual lived experience of those communities. Now, going another step forward, and this is kind of the gold standard, is co-design, co-innovation, co-creation. I don't care what you want to call it, but the basic premise here is you connect with those groups of people, bring them into the design and development process, and you work together to create those new technologies, those new services, those new products, or whatever you might want to.